Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined by Josh Bowe. We are editors at Mavs Moneyball. It is 11:40 p.m. on Wednesday night, November 19th. The Dallas Mavericks just lost a truly bizarre game to the New York Knicks, 113-111. Josh, how are you?
I'm doing okay. That was something. That was something.
So let me start because I'm just full of piss and vinegar as always. I had when Cooper Flagg gets ruled out of that game, my interest meter dropped to zero. Just full, he's kind of why I'm watching now because there's not a lot else to watch for, if we're being perfectly candid. And when I saw that Jalen Brunson was playing, I was like, well, the Mavericks are gonna get waxed. So color me a little bit delighted that the Mavericks managed to make this game a shit fest. Now, where I'm particularly curious is, did the Mavericks actually have anything to do with how horrible the Mavericks played? I'm sorry, the Knicks played. Just a quick note. If you're watching this YouTube stream live, there are two versions, one for the phone, one for the YouTube, or one for like kind of PC. If you're watching on your phone, it's pretty obvious which one it is because our heads are tiny. It's designed specifically to be able to watch kind of that way. All right. So I've just, and I had to write the recap because we had somebody bail last minute, which happens. And so it's like, all I ask for at a certain point is something interesting to watch and write about. And that was just a weird game. It was a really weird game. And I don't struggle to know how to talk about it because the Mavericks hit a bunch of threes early to make it interesting. They hit in the game, they hit 12, I think. No, they hit 16.
They hit 16.
They hit 16, which is 6 above their season average. They hit about 10 and a half a game. So in the first quarter and a half where they're sort of raining it down and the Knicks are just throwing up brick after brick, you just wonder, can the Mavericks hang around? Najee Marshall had himself a first half, scoring at like 20, I think 19 of his eventual game high 23 points. And you just sort of wonder, do the Mavericks have something here? They were up by 7 at certain points. The Knicks were just not able to close. I don't. So in your opinion, just let me ask you this. Do you think the Mavericks did anything defensively to cause any of this? I'm very confused.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit of both. It's the Mavericks are absolutely lucky that this wasn't a 10-point or 15-point loss, because even if you take in their good defense into account, the Knicks shot 19 of 35 from the free throw line. I don't care how good your defense is. You don't play defense when a team's at the free throw line.
That was remarkable.
So and it wasn't just all Mitchell Robinson misses. Karl Anthony Towns, who entered this game 91% from the line, was 5 of 9. He missed 4. Jalen Brunson missed 2. Landry Shamet missed 2. I mean, that's 2, 4. That's 8 free throws from 3 good free throw shooters. So they make 6 of them, and we're not even talking about what we're going to talk about that happened at the end of the game, and if everything else stayed the same. So that's one part of it. They did get lucky, but they got lucky because they did generate a bit of that luck because they play harder than almost every other team in the league. I mean, let's just be real. We're in year 5 or 6 of Jason Kidd. It's like this every season. Yeah, they got their doors blown off the other night, but they didn't play lively. They didn't play Gafford. When they have at least 3 of their 4 main starters so far, even without Anthony Davis, even without Kyrie Irving, I mean, they play hard. They play competitive. Like, you could just look at the schedule. Like, they've lost a lot of games. Yes, they are 4-12.
Right.
But I think only like 3 of them are like really bad, ugly losses. Every other game they were in it. And that doesn't say a lot. They're still 4-12. Moral victories don't really count in the standings for a team that had aspirations of being a solid playoff team before the season tipped off. But like like this team has been given, how many opportunities has this team been given to quit since February of last year? Like countless, more than any team has in the league during that time. And they don't, and they play hard. And another part of it is, and then to bounce off that is, the double big lineup is, there's still some interesting things they can do there. Something that me and you talked about before the season was we were worried, everyone kind of assumed that defensively that lineup would be awesome. Like, and the offense would struggle. And we kind of talked about before the season, like, hey, the defense might be hard too, playing two bigs. Cause I don't know about Anthony Davis chasing 3-point shooters and you don't want Gafford and Lively guarding in space on switches and stuff like that. When the Mavericks defense has still been pretty good. I mean, they still can get bombed from three. And I think a lot of that is they are playing, two forwards, real forwards, and a center. And they're able to switch and close out to shooters, run guys off the 3-point line while still not being at a disadvantage at the rim, because they're playing PJ at the 4 and they're playing, one of their centers at the 5. And then if Cooper's on the floor, I mean, that's like, Cooper, PJ plus a center, that's like 3 legitimate shot blockers on the floor. And you're not giving up a ton of foot speed because Cooper and PJ can guard and close out on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So like they had the Knicks in hell a little for most of the night because the Knicks couldn't get to the rim because the Mavericks were, playing hard, switching, closing out, doing what they needed to do and running the Knicks off the line. The Knicks shot, what did they shoot? They were 13 of 15 in the restricted area, which is like a really good percentage, but they only shot 15 shots in the restricted area. Like that's a testament to the Mavericks closing off the paint.
Right. And a lot of those ones that they made were really strong downhill attacks from Karl Anthony Towns. A lot of not necessarily fast break, but kind of like the semi break where they would fake a handoff or do something and he would just kind of charge at the rim like a bull. And we've seen him play often enough to know that if he gets off his game, things just get stupid in a hurry for Towns. And he had a pretty okay game tonight. I mean, this was it like I find myself frustrated, if only because I don't have a lot of interest in watching 65 losses. Do you know what I mean? Like I want, and so I don't know, man. This is just kind of one of those where I wish it would have gone. I mean, it's fun to watch, and I wish they would have come away from it.
I mean, this has been. I mean, how many losses? This loss, the Clippers loss, the Phoenix loss, the Milwaukee loss, the New Orleans loss, the Houston loss. I mean, it's all like every game, every loss, like it's close, it's competitive. They keep it interesting, but they just can't do it.
And it highlights the shortcomings. I mean, I really grew frustrated towards the end of the game when you hear Richard Jefferson talking about what the Mavericks could be, and I'm just like, wish in one hand, crap in the other. Tell me what gets filled first. Like, this is so stupid. The conversations about this team are not intellectually honest, and I don't understand why. Good players must fit well together. I do want to talk about that second half and fourth quarter. We've been understandably a little bit frustrated with D'Angelo Russell. Following the Detroit game, he was shooting roughly 0 for a grillion from 3, couldn't hit anything. Came in tonight and played a pretty nice ball game. Some still truly like heinous turnovers where it's just like, buddy, what are you doing? What are you looking at when you make this decision? But Kid also just sort of iced him. Like he got the game going in the fourth quarter and they pulled him out and he basically sat on the bench for 6 solid minutes. Like, what was the deal there?
Yeah, I'm not sure they wanted to ride with Brandon Williams, I guess. I don't know.
I don't understand wanting to ride with Brandon Williams either. Brandon Williams 2-11 from the floor tonight.
Yeah, he was not. I'm a Brandon Williams guy, but this is not a great game.
No, it's okay. It's he's just, his one move is I want to go fast. Yep. And as the season goes on, that's going to get easier to scout. Now other teams pick up on that because all NBA teams, it's a grind. But it's just, there's going to be some nights where he sucks. And Russell, who I have been pretty hard on, and so the Mavs fan base has been pretty hard on, came out and shot 4-7 from 3. He had 7 assists and 3 turnovers, which at one point he had 2 or 3 really ugly turnovers in a row. and he was dealing. And I just sort of wish the Mavericks would have kept him in there. It's not like Brandon Williams is a top-notch defender. It's like someone in the chat asks if the Mavs are tanking, and it's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal.
Yep. And speaking of Brandon Williams, we got, let's talk about the end. It was it was fitting for how the game was, because this was a really ugly game to watch. So of course it's going to end ugly. I think there's two parts of the conversation with the Brandon Williams offensive foul that was called that end of the game, and he was scoring a layup. So if they didn't call it, he would have tied the game.
Yeah.
This came after the Knicks missed. Good Lord, they missed 1, 2, 3, 4,
5 out of 6.
5 out of their last 6 free throws. So again, they make 3 more of those, and this isn't even a conversation.
Nope.
But there's two parts of it, because the broadcast team was talking about it a lot, and people are talking about it in my mentions and online, is people think that Shamet bumped Williams before Williams hooked him, and then the other part is the actual hook. For me, the weird part is, like, I just don't see, like, that's just a call I'm not used to seeing.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't know if I've ever seen an offensive foul call with a hook in that moment. That's right.
Yeah, that happens. Like, I'm not saying that the hooks don't get called, but in that moment, refs usually let things go unless it's like super, super egregious. So that was the other part. The other part is, like, I don't think Shamet fouled Williams. Like, if I were calling that, I would have called no call, and just Williams would have scored the layup side of the game. Like, everyone keeps saying, well, he bumped him before the offensive foul.
I don't care about the bump either. I think it's a no call. It's just no call.
I've watched it, like, that replay like 8 times. I don't see a bump. He just kind of gets up next to him, like you do playing defense. But yeah, the offensive foul, it was just, I just can't believe they call, like, by the letter of the law. Like, sure, I guess it's an offensive foul, but, like, good Lord, that was a physical game, and you just usually don't see. I wonder if that got called because it's Brandon Williams and not.
It's got to be part of it to a degree. It's just some really, just some fearless performances from certain Mavericks tonight. Like, as much as I hate on watching Jaden Hardy play, like, he tried his ass off tonight. Like, he was 1 of 6 from 3, but he's kind of like recklessly driving at the rim a few times. He's a lovable dork, and is kind of like the perfect tank guard. Should they playing him a little bit more? I don't really know. Really good Najee Marshall game. I thought Dan Gafford and Lively actually had pretty good games themselves. Probably Lively's best. It's not like that we have a huge sample size, but since he's come back, that was, like, very clearly Lively's best game, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, not even close. Like, I know his numbers don't look great besides the 10 rebounds, but just he was engaged, and
he was throwing some horrible passes. Like, it was listening to Richard Jefferson and Tim Legler kind of argue about the quality of lob throws, and it's like, Lively can kiss the sky if they were bad throws.
Yep.
So,
no, I'm with you.
A couple of people are asking some questions about what, the kind of news of the day. We're going to get to the news of the day after a break, because it's not too much. Like, sometimes we get really in the weeds in the games, but tonight we're not gonna. PJ Washington, another just classic PJ game where he stuffs the box score in weird ways while managing to miss 11 of 12 shots.
He only made 1 shot.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
I wouldn't have said that while watching the game. I thought he was having a good game. Yeah. I think that's just, he was playing good. That just goes to show defensively. I think he had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy.
This is a tough loss because, again, guys, they're playing 5 games in 7 nights. They head to a back-to-back after this one. So it's like notching this one at home would have been nice. I can't even remember who they play next.
New Orleans.
Okay, so this
New Orleans again, and then they play Memphis at home again because this is the most.
God, are you serious?
This is the most. They play New Orleans at home on Friday, and then they play Memphis at home on Saturday.
So for people who wonder why I'm making that noise,
baby soft schedule I've ever seen to open.
Was this their 11th home game or their 10th home game?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This was their 12th home game. They'll play their 13th and 14th home game this weekend.
14 home games out of 18 to start the year. You've got to be kidding. That's okay.
Against mostly bad teams.
And this was why we were like, they have to get out to. I'm sorry, I remember all this now.
Yes.
I remember all this now. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to talk about some of the news of the day, and then Josh will go to bed. There's 3 ways to support the show if you're at all interested. Number 1, listen to the ads, which I'm about to insert. That's the easiest way. The second easiest way is to tell your friends. We want to grow the show, even in a time of garbage basketball. If you're watching the Mavericks now, you're going to be watching the Mavericks forever. And tell your friends that this is the place where you can get an honest assessment of the Mavericks with a little bit of old man grouchiness and occasional curse words. Won't always get those curse words on some of our friends' shows who are frankly nicer people than Josh and I. The third way you can support the show is directly. There's links in the notes of the show where you can click on it. And if you feel like sending us something, we would be appreciative. We're going to insert those ads and we will be right back. Thank you so much for waiting. If you are at all interested, stick around after Josh hops off. I'll be hosting Mavs group therapy where we can talk through this game if anybody's really up late. It's not exactly the thing I want to do the most right now, but you know what? I've committed to doing the show, done it 15 times. We're going to do it a 16th time tonight. Okay, where should we start with the news of the day? Just start with the early and kind of work our way through it timeline-wise?
Yeah, you were more plugged in today than I was. So if you could kind of take us through, that will help me refresh my memory and all the stuff
so
that got talked about today.
We got the equivalent of probably the most professional. I don't know. There's been some good media coverage of this from people who do this for work. The Athletics done great. ESPN did well today. Tim McMahon published sort of this was how Mark Cuban lost his power, like sort of walking us through this. And it went down almost exactly how we had assumed it went down, which is to say that Mark Cuban never got anything in writing. And then after the team was sold, proceeded to basically piss everyone off around the Mavericks, talking about how he was still in charge when he had no formal authority in the thing. And as you're reading this, if you've followed our site for a long time, you kind of got why Nico was like, I got to get this guy out of the picture. Like it was pretty brutal to Mark Cuban. But then of course he paints through the rest of it with how Nico essentially, I tweeted out gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, just kind of as a joke. Nico effectively gaslit Patrick Dumont into trading Luka Doncic. He isolated Dumont in a real way to where he was the only source of information about the Mavericks, which isn't entirely surprising because he's the general manager, like he's the peak of the pyramid. But sources told McMahon that a lot of people feel that he made a bad business-based argument saying that Luka wasn't worth the investment of a Supermax, which, I mean, I guess only makes sense if you have no idea how anything fucking works in the NBA.
which Dumont doesn't.
Yeah. Screw the valuation, screw the gate receipts, I guess. It's pretty incredible. And, then afterwards it's once this happened, once the trade happened, Cuban, from his interesting position out on the outside, again, he's a minority owner. I've been a little harsh about him today, saying he's a highly compensated season ticket holder, but that's what he is. And he effectively worked his way back into Patrick Dumont's I don't want to say good graces because that's too insulting to Cuban, but basically said I need to have a seat at the table here if you want to know what's going on, which Cuban made the argument of like, I know more about basketball than you and a lot of people, so you need to let me in, which is again a fair argument, but it's more, when you read the article and some of the things that are said off the record about Cuban, as usual, it becomes the instance of Mark just not having the social graces to understand when he is pissing everyone off. And that's the first story. And then at around 4:00 today, Mark Cuban, again, this is very important to understand. He does not have a formal title. He is Mark Cuban, minority owner. a minority owner is not a real title. And then he tells Joe Varden of The Athletic, we're not interested in trading Anthony Davis. We want to win. I should have actually led with the fact that in the article, in the opening few paragraphs, they talk about how the Mavericks are absolutely looking to trade Anthony Davis. And I know you got to say, like, everybody's been yelling at me saying, well, you say one thing public and one thing private. This looks like typical Maverick message disunity, and I'm fucking annoyed.
Yeah, when I saw the quote, I don't get as angry with you about this kind of stuff like I used to. And we were talking about it in Slack. I'm trying to figure out the best way to talk about it here. But like I saw that and like I'm just kind of over. Like I don't want to do this again. Like the years leading up to Cuban selling the team, like outside of obviously the Luka magic, like the stuff outside of the team was pretty fucking awful. I mean, like let's not forget it was it 10 years ago? Almost 10 years ago, Cuban was the leader of the organization and presided over an organization that had rampant, sexual abuse and sexual harassment throughout his organization, which he got slapped on the wrist for. And then that was kind of in the midst of him having a really terrible run as leading the basketball side of the operation, where the Mavericks pretty much did nothing of significance after that 2011 title. They won no playoff series, had no real direction, mismanaged the cap and misjudged the climate. He pissed off a ton of people. Remember the Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant stuff? We've got the article that you wrote that has like all the things that he said, and a lot of that stuff he said that pissed a lot of people off was post 2011. And I just like, I saw this and it's like, oh great. Like he's back. Like he's, and I know that's, some people could say it in a good way, but like, I'm tired of reacting to Mark Cuban quotes. Like I don't want to do it anymore. Like I just don't, because it's a zero-sum game. It gets us some podcast hits and we're going to have some highlight clips and all that good stuff. But then it's like, I got people yelling at me. Why are you so mad about the Mavs? Why are you so mean to the Mavs? And that'll come from fans. That'll come from people associated with the team. It's like, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Like I just don't. That part's not fun. The part that's fun for me is watching the games. And like this game, as awful as it was kind of aesthetically, I take this over them losing by 35, which is what I think everyone kind of thought was going to happen. And this team plays hard. Right. And I think the players are worthy of being of talking about. And then this stuff happens outside around the team. It's a mess and it's not going away because now Cuban's back in. So he's going to talk more because he's now considers himself back part of the picture. Meanwhile, the org is still trying to fix itself. So like this is going to get worse before it gets better. And I just like, I'm not in this anymore. Pre-pandemic, when I still had piss and vinegar, it would be really fun to get on here and yell about it, but that's not fun for me anymore. And just thinking about like, oh great, there's going to be more Mark Cuban quotes. It's just a bummer. I don't want to talk about him anymore. And I don't want to react to him. And I don't want the blowback of reacting to him anymore.
See, and I'm glad you mentioned that at the end because it's worth noting. Look, guys, if you're listening to our podcast right now, you're a hardcore fan. We appreciate you. But Josh and I don't do this for work. We do this for a little extra. It's not our jobs. We'll never be our jobs. It's okay. But for years and years, and we're talking over a decade, we at Mavs Moneyball, Josh and I together and other people have taken a whole host of shit from paid media personalities around town who treated us like garbage for being right. And that's pretty important to me. Like, I don't necessarily need to be told that we're special and smart, but I do appreciate a little bit of respect. And we didn't get that because we didn't kiss ass. Cuban came on our podcast after he invited himself on, and he later basically told me, he's like, I thought you were going to be a bigger asshole than me. You're all piss and vinegar. No, I'm just not an asshole to people I've never met before. And this is why I have no interest being that kind of media person where I want to bitch. It's like, I don't want to know you on a personal level. Like, I don't hate Mark Cuban as a person. I don't hate any of this is all entertainment. but it still matters to me. And I take, it's important to me. So I try to do this as well as I can. And for the better part of 10 years, we have been told that we're too unfair about the Mavericks. And frankly, I just don't really remember a situation other than like me being ridiculous about Jalen Brunson or something where we were ever completely and totally off base. I mean, Mark Cuban is quite literally the wellspring as to why the Mavericks didn't win a playoff series between 2011 and when Luka Doncic finally won one. Like they squandered Dirk's later years. Nobody wanted to be involved with the Mavericks. They lost every free agent. Nico Harrison was specifically brought in so that Cuban wasn't going to have to do that stuff anymore. And so you read these things today, and some of the things that McMahon's article off the record sourcing talks about Cuban comes back to the fact of, okay, well, we're just back to where we were then, where one guy's talking way too much, flooding the zone with information. Like it's just maddening. It's not that I need. I mean, I just quite honestly don't want him to be involved with any of this basketball decision-making stuff anymore. He's gonna be, but I don't want it, and I'm not interested in it because it comes with sussing through way too much horse shit.
Yeah, and I know part of it is like, well, if Cuban still had to say, Luka wouldn't have gotten traded, and it's like, okay, you know, I mean, that's not a unique. Like Mark Cuban doesn't get brownie points for saying, hey, don't do the worst trade in the history of pro sports. Like
we also know based on reporting that it took a whole lot to get Cuban to even be willing to trade up to draft Luka. Okay. He wasn't high on Luka. It took like everyone and their uncle saying, do you want to miss on the next Giannis? Because that's what he did in 2013. He didn't listen to anybody. And he wanted the, you know, cap space for Dwight Howard. So again, it's like, I'm sure that he'll see part of this and maybe he'll send a message to one of us. Doesn't really matter. This is not a hate thing. It's just like, I want something new. Can we turn it over? You know, this isn't, which one of the, there's one ex-president, like Teddy Roosevelt ran for president on like a third party at one point. And it's just like, no, we don't need you, Teddy. We're going to be fine. Like that's just where I sit with all this. It's, you know, Two Thumb Chum asks, can he be a special advisor without any decision-making ability? That's what he's going to be. But my point is what is he advising? His advice isn't good. It's not good. Bull Moose Party. Shout out Will Hawk. Appreciate that. Another weird history person like me.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't like talking about that. Like I used to like talking about that stuff and it got beaten out of me through a variety of things that I don't want to talk about right now.
Sure.
And it's just like, you know, it's just, and the team is losing. Like, it's a bad combination. I'll just say that when the team is losing and you got stuff like this that's on the periphery that also stinks. And we felt some of this last year where people, like, everyone was just so mad because, you know, last season, fans, media mad at the Mavs for blowing up the franchise. People associated with the Mavs were mad that they couldn't really talk about it, but they were also mad because they were in it. And like, people taking out frustrations on each other for things that aren't their fault or they aren't the ones responsible for it. And I feel like we're getting closer to that where someone's going to pop off, be like, well, why are you being so mean to Mark? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, You're not mad. You're not mad at me. You're mad because your organization, you know, torpedoed itself, which isn't our fault. And it's not your fault, you know, not that person's fault either. Like there's just so much collateral damage in all of this.
That's the right way.
That the people responsible for will never really see. You know, it's Dumont's the one who's technically ultimately responsible for all this. And he very quite clearly, you know, he wrote a letter. He didn't do media after firing Nico Harrison. And the reports where he's very much doesn't want to do media. So we're not going to hear from him, which, okay. But now we're going to hear from Mark again, which, you know, and it just starts this up. It's just a cog. We're just cogs in this wheel. The wheel keeps turning no matter we fall off or not. Like they'll just put another cog on there. And that part of it is not going to be fun. And the games are they're going to lose so many games that this is what people are going to be talking about, because no one's going to want to talk about the games because the team's bad.
Yeah. And they're in some like they're hitting some moments pretty soon. Like they play, we're just a week out from the Lakers game, a day after Thanksgiving in Los Angeles. And then they play a string of nationally televised games right around Christmas. I mean, they're on NBC Peacock, they're on Christmas Day, they're on ABC, and then they're on NBA TV, and then they're on NBC Peacock again.
Dude.
Like, I think they're going to get flexed out all this.
Are you looking? Have you looked at who they're playing during all those games?
It's a murderer's row, and like I want some folks to keep in mind this. Like, there's I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and so if you're a Chiefs fan, you know that last year they won like a grillion one-score games, and then this year they've not won a single one. The Mavericks have lost every one of their clutch games.
No,
maybe
like
they beat the
two.
Wizards.
Yeah,
they beat the Wizards. They beat Portland. Okay,
they
played a lot of close games.
The Pacers. The Pacers was a clutch game.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I misspoke. Excuse me. I think there's an argument to be made that they should have 2 to 3 more wins. They like a coin flip, like this one, for example. They're not this bad. They're bad, but they're not this bad. So I think maybe some of the stuff normalizes where they get some wins that they really shouldn't have, and then we can come in here and talk about more interesting basketball.
Well, the problem with that is the schedule's
too hard.
The schedule's now not like the time for them to get those wins to stabilize and even things out. That's gone now, because they play Memphis, they play New Orleans on Friday, they play Memphis on Saturday. If they don't go 2-0 in those 2 games, here's the next games after that Memphis game Saturday: at Miami, at Lakers, at Clippers, at Nuggets, home Miami, at OKC, home Rockets, home Pistons, at Philadelphia.
There's not a single game after that Memphis game where they're going to be favored.
No.
No.
It's
not to say they won't win, but they're not going to be favored.
Right. Like, so if they don't go 2-0 here this weekend against Memphis and New Orleans, like, it's going to get, I mean, holy crap. It could look really, really dark by the right before Christmas. Because I'm
looking forward to that Pelicans game, though, man. Like, they're a weird team. I liked watching Fears, and I really liked watching Derek Queen.
Well, and he's shown out since that Mavericks game, that last game he played. So
we'll see. Well, I'll let you go to bed.
Okay.
Thank you so much for staying up late. I appreciate you.
No, it's gonna get. It's not even. We haven't even done a West Coast. Have we done a West Coast game yet? We haven't.
That's true, but I think we're old enough now to where we can maybe I can try to farm out to somebody else, and we can figure out what's going. This is a good question to ask. Actually, I'll save this for the checks. I think I know your answer to this. The Two Thumb Chum has a good one. I'll lead the post game show with that. All right, guys, you Josh, you get on to whatever it is you got to do before bed, and we will talk to you guys on Friday night. Go Mavs. Good evening, fellow weirdos. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Group Therapy. It's about 12:15 on Thursday morning. This is our secondary post-game show where you can join the action and we can talk a little bit of basketball. There might not be a lot of interest tonight. I get it. And if that's the case, I'll just run the show all as one again, and we'll see where we can go from there. I do want to lead while I'm waiting to see if anybody wants to join. We got a question in the last show from Two Thumb Chum on Twitter. He asks this. He says, do you guys, meaning Josh and I, do you really want more wins? Isn't the highest pick what we really want? Nights like this, I'm taking a little solace in the loss. This is a very good question. I think that when you're under 20 games into the season, you're not really tanking is just not a thing. The Mavericks aren't tanking because they're trying really hard. They're putting out lineups that can win. There's interest in the team still in seeing what people can do. I was a little confused about Jason Kidd's not putting in D'Lo earlier tonight. So if you're a conspiracy theorist, you got that going for you. But I think it's a good question just because, big picture, will we look back on this one win and say, all right, one loss and say, this is the one that did it? No. But I think if you're starting to look at lottery stuff, it's 60 plus games, until we get there. And I just can't watch the Mavericks every night hoping they'll lose. Now, when mistakes happen, when they do lose, like tonight, like where they just they had it and then they lost it, I'm not as mad as I might be in a season where they're chasing the playoffs. I do take, I guess if you're asking if I take solace in that, sure. But game in, game out, I tune in because I want to see the team that I watch win, or I want to see some sort of development. I want something. There's got to be the hook to watch. You know what I mean? That's just sort of where I settle with that. But I think it's a good thing to be. Killer Cam in the chat says it's better actually to not be dead last for the lottery. I mean, given the way the lottery keeps breaking, yes. I mean, there's the flattening of the odds, I think, is largely a net good, because it just makes it more interesting. I don't want 6 teams racing for one spot with the best odds. Like, that's just awful. It's awful. There's too many games to want to cheer for losing. If you get frustrated because they win one you think they shouldn't, okay. I'm not going to tell anybody how to fan. It's just you got to find why you're watching. I mean, I watch for 2 reasons. The main is that obviously I like basketball. Secondary reason is I find myself in charge of a weird little community here, and so that's that. Friend of the program, Ash Boying, is waiting to talk. I'm going to bring him up right now. But if you want to join, you got comments on tonight's game. You got comments about that foul situation at the end. I want to talk about it. If you have questions, pop them in the thing, and I'll try to flag them and answer them after Ash and I are done talking. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Kirk?
Okay. I just another, probably the weirdest loss this year for me.
Well, it was I was like you. I turned the game on, expecting to see Cooper Flagg running around out there, and that's when I found out he wasn't playing, and my interest level dropped to almost 0. Not quite, but almost 0. But it did give me a chance to watch a couple of things that I wanted to watch. I wanted to watch Max Christie. I wanted to focus on him.
Good game.
I think he's a good piece for the future. And, one of the things that I noticed about him is he does not attack closeouts like he should. There was one play, I don't know if you remember it, but he did attack the closeout. He went to the rim hard.
Mm-hmm.
He got up really high, and Mr. Robinson fouled it because the 7-footer couldn't get up as high as Max. I want to see more of that. If we see more of that, Max may be a 20-point scorer because he can shoot and he can jump. And, if he can be better attacking closeouts, he can get a couple more buckets a game or free throws.
Yeah, finishing is such a tough thing to learn, though, particularly with the physicality that's allowed near the rim. I wonder. I don't know enough about him and his. I knew he was like Mr. Basketball in high school and was kind of like a widely regarded guy. But it's like you meet that NBA level athleticism and strength, and I just don't know. Like I'm sure he could actually get better at it over the years. I wonder how much he's going to get better at it this year.
He's not going to get better at it this year, but he can get stronger. Okay. Yeah. And that's where that's where he's going to get better at it, is if he gets stronger. He's still incredibly, I don't like to use the word weak, but incredibly not strong. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and so, that's how he can get better. It's the same way with Cooper. Cooper's still got that 18-year-old teenager strength rather than that 22-year-old man strength. And that's those things will get better. Okay. Also like to watch. I also wanted to watch Derek Lively. The defense is just so much better with him in the game. I mean, he
Yeah.
deters a lot of drives. I mean, we said, that they were 13 of 15 inside the restricted area. Yeah, that's true, but only 15 shots. And a lot of that's because you don't want to go in there with Lively there. He had 3 blocks in the first quarter.
He's significantly bigger than Gafford, and there are times where you notice it a ton, and then there are times where Gafford is playing so big, it's not as noticeable. But tonight was one of those games where he was just sort of hovering like a condor, and I felt that it was definitely one of those performances where if you're still on the Derek Lively train, that was it gave me a little bit of fuel for the tank for him, because I've been pretty disappointed in him this season.
Well, I have too, but that's because of his availability, and I'm starting to wonder if we have street clothes Lively and street clothes Davis. But, I mean, that's just the way it is. Also Najee Marshall showed that he's got real value. I mean, trade value. I think that he could be a really, I mean, you package him and Davis up to like maybe Chicago, who's has a problem with their defense, and Najee can play defense. That makes that trade package very, very attractive. Something like that.
Najee would be I don't think there's enough shooting with him and Giddey, but like just conceptually, I like the idea of him as a secondary playmaker off Giddey, because he often gets like the rotation closeout type thing, and he's not a great shooter, obviously. No, but his creativity with the ball and that like little mid-range floater is just it's a fun thing that mid-range floater. Nobody has that. It's a very rare skill.
Right. And I'm thinking of him being like leading their second team, Chicago's second team, and kind of bolstering that defense on the second team, because they've got a Coro in their on their starting lineup who's purported to be an elite defender, but I haven't seen it this year, but he's purported to be an elite defender. So, that's I think that makes a pretty interesting trade package if you wanted to send Davis to Chicago. I also wanted to have you comment extensively on how you felt about Cuban's remarks of, well, we're not trading Anthony Davis. I think he's kind of ham-fistedly trying to negotiate with the league and, like get Davis's value up, but, just doesn't know how to do it subtly. But, that's just me.
Well, Josh and I kind of talked about it at the end there. I just find myself perplexed. It's everyone knows you're trading him. Everyone. There's an existential funk that hangs over him and the organization, and it's neither's fault, but he deserves a fresh start, and so do the Mavericks. And until
I really think that if you trade him, this fan base kind of starts to move on from
I think so too. I think so too. I was listening to a Bucks player today on a podcast talk about how wild it was being there for that game with the crowd just losing their minds at Nico. And that's, that's got to hang over Davis. It's not his fault, but it's like he's party to it. But
my comment is, go ahead.
Cuban drives me nuts. That's all.
Yeah. My final comment is this: I'm wondering when Jason Kidd is going to try his Milwaukee style power play to kind of be the new GM/coach all rolled into one. So
I don't think he does, because I don't know if he wants that level of responsibility.
He tried it. He tried it in Milwaukee. He tried it in Brooklyn. Neither place worked. I'm thinking he might be eyeing it, going, "This is the spot. This is my time."
Maybe, but look at what just happened to Nico. Like, this place has very little. Like, Kidd is a all-timer for the org, but I'm just not so sure. Like, Kidd just goes up there and tells stories. Like, even today, he's like, well, New York, like, I had never had any interest in New York. And it's like, what are we doing?
That's bull.
Like, I got a message today from somebody whose opinion I really value that was just like, look, he really didn't have anything to do with the Luka trade. You've got to trust me on this. And I remember telling the person, I'm like, I just don't. I'm sorry. Like, I've watched Kidd operate. Now, he's off scot-free because he's really good at this, but it's just I don't know. the main party to the Luka trade is now gone, and I have sort of settled that that's the scalp that I wanted. You're not moving on from the owner unless the Mavericks somehow devalue, like, and Kid is unkillable. So that's just sort of where I fall.
Now that I found out you're a history buff, Ken Burns has a pretty good documentary on PBS.
I have not watched it yet, and I'll be honest. Since having kids, my book, and I used to ride the DC Metro every day, so I would have I just needed to eat up hours, but also not be so engrossed in what I was reading to where I would miss my stop. So it's been about 10 years, but I have all of Hardcore History, that podcast. I bought the entire library for like $60 one year. And that's always on my to-do list to get to. So it's too many Mavs games, not enough time to do the things I would also enjoy. So here we are.
Yeah, I just like the way Ken Burns tells a story, though. So.
Sure, he's good at it. All right, appreciate you kicking us off, man. Talk soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, I got one question in the chat, which I'm going to get back to, but Killer Cam and Daniel have been waiting. Mr. Cam, unmute yourself. How you doing?
Good, sir.
Good to hear. Good to hear you.
Man, this is like my first time ever doing this. Like, I'm kind of, I'm kind of a casual. Like, I'm a little bit between like a hardcore and a casual. So it's like
You're in a chat room at 12:30 at night on a Thursday. I think you've graduated the hardcore.
Yeah, but I'm not like a super I'm not a super intricate in knowing basketball players.
That's fine. But you like the Mavs. That's what this is about. Honestly, man, I go to my kid's basketball practices. He's 9. And I played 5A varsity basketball in the early 2000s. And I was a women's practice player at my college team. And every time I go to these practices, I'm like, I don't know shit about basketball.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. But it's the weird thing is, man, like every time I watch this team, man, it's weird. Like, I can see Nico's vision, but I can also see your vision of just us being horrible. Like, we're just such a weird team to where they play super hard, but they just don't. Like, it's weird because like I can legit see them, especially if they're in the East. In the West this year, like even with a healthy Kyrie and AD, I don't see them beating OKC, Denver, Rockets. But like maybe if it was like last year or the year before, or if we were in the East. I think a healthy team could actually do something in the playoffs in the East or like last year and the year before, that's a Western Conference. But this year, I don't really see it. But I also see us just being terrible because we can't shoot. Get like our playmakers are just too inconsistent. Like I love B Will. Like he B was a fun player, man. But dude, as a 6-foot point guard, if you can't hit shots, it's gonna be rough, man. Like
he was apparently 24 from 60 from 3-point range last year.
Yeah, he's been like 18. Actually, last year was pretty good. This year, he's like 18%. I don't know what happened. I think
a lot of his shots look good. They're just not going in.
I think it's the hamstring injury, and then like the stuff then like dealing with the death of his friend and and his arrest kind of messed up the beginning of his season. But it's like, but. It's just hard, man. Like I love B Will, man, but dude, if you're a 6-foot point guard and you can't hit threes, man, it's hard to really put you on the floor. Like
it's so. You said something earlier about the Nico vision, and if you give me
I
good,
can see it.
Well, if you get me good and drunk, if you get me good and drunk, I'll say the same thing that I can. And it's late now. We're amongst friends. Where Nico was coming from, and I really think they're building towards trading for Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
I could absolutely see it. And even without Durant, I could see it for a series.
Yeah.
But Kyrie, expecting him to be the primary ball handler was just
that's
not
the thing.
fair.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Kyrie was so good as the maybe like a freelancer. Like, do you happen to play video games?
Yeah.
So every time when I was younger, before I got too old and just too shitty in my reflexes, I loved playing PvP games with friends. And there would always be like the one guy on the squad who was just a little different and would kind of go do his own thing and kill a bunch of people. And that's how Kyrie was in the basketball sense, where it's just like if you let him do his thing,
he's a mercenary.
Right. And I mean that on the court where it's like 6-7 possessions out of the the 100 in a game. You just let Kyrie do his thing and annihilate the defense. And he becomes kind of the closer where he's hammering the nail into the coffin. Wow, that's way too many. Too many descriptive things at once, but it's expecting him to do it for 82 games was never really fair. And then when he got hurt, that the Mavericks didn't, and I think this is like kids' quiet protest where it's because you got to have more. Yeah,
you can't rely on D'Lo.
And D'Lo is tonight's a great example of
he's
D'Lo game.
Yeah, he's hit and miss.
Yeah, and it's
but like you can't rely on them, which is like stupid because I don't understand why Nico was planning on relying on D'Lo. I think the answer that was his fatal flaw. Like, I mean, obviously trading Luka, but like relying on D'Lo to be consistent when he's never been consistent is like one of the even in his prime, D'Lo wasn't consistent. So it's like,
Nico when you look at the team build. He very clearly does not, and I say does, not did, because I think he would vouch for this today. He does not value on-ball offensive creation. He just doesn't do it. Like that is one of his principles, one of his guiding principles. Yeah. And he died on that hill.
I guess he saw the Rockets, but the Rockets look infinitely better with KD. And even then, I don't have them beating OKC. You know what I'm saying? Or really even Denver. Like, because as I was us, they don't have really any ball handlers. Like the third round pick, the third round pick, Reece Shepard. He's more of a shooter. Like he's not really a creator point guard. So they're relying on KD to pretty much be the point guard. And that's fine in the regular season where teams can't really scout on you and teams gotta get in a grind. But in the playoffs, I don't know how well. I think Houston could beat anybody. Honestly, I think Houston could beat anybody but OKC and Denver.
Did you want to hear a wild stat about Houston that I heard today? They are getting for every 5 misses that Houston has on offense, they are rebounding 2 of them offensively. Like that's nuts. That's like men playing against children after like a
but even then, they still lost to the super small Warriors, and so you know what I'm saying. Like, and it took like Jimmy and Steph getting hurt for them to even like make it to 7 games. So it was like even with that, I know it's different because they got KD and instead of Draymond Green, but like I don't see those rebounds beating OKC or Denver, you know what I'm saying? So even with that strategy, I don't see that as being perfect in the playoffs. In the regular season, I think that's really good because teams can't scout, they're tired all the time, so they can just kind of just do that over and over again and get like easy wins. But in the playoffs, I don't see that formula being successful either. But it's just also the thing is, like, I just don't know moving forward, man, because I want to tank, but I don't want to tank because, like, as I said in the chat, like these past 2, one of our picks were teams were playing teams, and since they evened out the lottery odds, I don't think it's good to be the worst team in the NBA because look at Utah last year, look at Detroit the 2 years before, back to back, they all went 5. The worst teams actually got the 5th pick instead of the 1 pick for like 3 or 4 straight years. So it's like I don't want to be the worst team in the NBA because that's not going to guarantee me the number 1 overall pick. I'd rather be a play-in team because that's actually proven to be closer, actually getting like the first and second overalls.
Well, and if you start looking around at like different mock draft things, you will see that
the Mavericks was going 8.
Right, because so I'm looking at it right now, and they are terrible. So I mean, 7th. They are 20. So I guess they'd be 23rd in the league. Like, I just don't
So I don't want to bottom out because
I don't think they can
guarantee us number 1 overall pick, man. Like,
I don't think you got to worry about that because I don't think they can. Because even if they start selling off pieces, the way Kid has guys play,
but also with CBA, man, I don't think. Also, my other point. with this new CBA, I don't think we'll get a lot because people are saying we get a first for Najee. I don't see that with this new CBA,
Their
and he's a
draft picks
3-year
are too
deal.
valuable.
And honestly, man, I would rather keep Najee because we're on public only get like a second round pick. I'd rather keep Najee than having a second round pick because for like 2 more years after this, I'd rather have Najee than a second round pick. PJ, if we get a good deal.
Well, they can't move him till They
I know,
can't
but
move him till after the new,
But
until
get guy for as well. Like, because the thing is, it's a new CBA. I think a lot of fans are going to be surprised how little these players are going to demand because teams just don't have the assets.
They're all kind of loaded within a small number of teams.
So I mean,
people
are kind of saying, trade everyone away. I don't really see that happening, man. Because honestly, I don't even want that to happen because, man, we're not really gonna get a lot for these players who have actual talent. Like you're not gonna get a lot for Najee. Yeah, like the other team's gonna get Najee on a bargain, and we're gonna be stuck with some random second round pick that we don't even know will be even half as good as Najee. Well, and with Gaff, same thing, So we're not getting first round picks for these dudes. We're probably gonna get only second round picks. And we don't even know they're going to be as good or even better than what we have currently. But 80, I can be convinced, like and it can also help us. Can also kind of help us get in the number one pick because we'll hopefully win a little bit more games, and we can also show that he's actually valuable and can stay healthy, so we can ship him off while barely missing the play-in. So that way we're gonna have actually a higher chance to getting the number of our pick than to just immediately trade him away now, and then be like a 3-73 team, and then end up getting like the 5th overall pick.
I think the bottom line is with 60 games left, you just have to play basketball.
Yeah,
and I think trade stuff won't really heat up for another month, and then
that's the thing. The trade stuff is just so confusing because it is new CBA. We just can't expect getting.
I don't have
deals.
any. I think Kevin Durant, what Phoenix had to give up for. I'm sorry, what the Rockets had to give up for Kevin Durant.
Nothing.
That's kind of
nothing.
I think AD will fetch a little more because he's a little younger, but not too much. His
honestly, man,
like expensive.
Honestly, I kind of want to keep AD for, but still kind of tank a little bit so we can get like a high round draft pick, and then because since we don't have draft pick until 2031, maybe try to package some of the lower end guys for cap room and maybe a second round pick, and then see what. So because if we can get the Kansas guard with Kyrie and AD and Coop and PJ, like I think that could be a good team.
Yeah, but I think in order to do that, you'd have to bottom out. Like you would just have there'd be so much hope involved in that, and I think
I was thinking because in the OCB, I would just say trade everyone and get a bunch of assets because I think in the OCB we can get like not as good as a deal as a Thunder got with.
Well, there's just not a lot.
George,
there's
but
nobody to trade him.
We can get a pretty good deal. But with this new CBA, I don't really see us getting good deals or getting a lot of first round picks. Anyways, we may only get 1 or 2 tops with AD.
Round picks to get.
Yeah,
like that's
so it's like I don't really see trading everyone away when we're not going to really get those assets that people are saying we're going to get. I don't see us getting a bunch of first round picks or a bunch of second round picks for any of these guys on this team. So it's like I'd rather just kind of balance the active playing AD but sitting him out so we won't get hurt. But to win enough games, we can kind of barely miss the play-in. So maybe we can get like the third or second or the third or second overall pick. Maybe because I being a bad team, they're actually going lower and lower and lower. Like the Brooklyn Nets got 7th or 8th, the Pelicans got like all these bad teams are actually getting kind of lower draft picks. So I kind of want to just be right under the play-in and then kind of keep AD, keep Kyrie, and see what we could do next year. Since we don't have any first-round picks until 2031, we could just try to win next year with 2 lottery picks and Cooper, and hopefully the guard from Kansas. I think that could be a really good team.
Have fun going to tankathon.com and just clicking the button every day.
Yeah, man, like we can get like I just see us. I just rate going like 8th, and in this draft class, it can still be good, but it's not life changing, you know.
I
So
like
it's
a lot of the guys, man. I do.
Yeah.
I love college basketball. I don't get to watch as much.
Yeah,
but
this class, like this draft class, is loaded, so we'll get a good player, definitely. But it's like after that,
sure.
we don't. I just don't see us getting a lot of draft picks back. So it's like I don't want to suck for the LKC Thunder to get a number the 5th overall pick, or the Rockets to get a 5th overall pick again. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like I don't want to benefit other teams for us sucking. But
well, hey man, I'm glad you joined the show. I hope you come back.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was good. Kill Cam's first joining of the show. I know he goes to the DLLS show sometimes. All right, I'm gonna insert some ads. So listen to those ads, and then I'm gonna bring Daniel back up. So we'll be right back. Daniel, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Hey, Kirk, how's it going, man?
I'm a little tired. I'm gonna die tomorrow, but we'll worry about that tomorrow.
Well, another tough loss for the boys tonight, man. I mean, man, that last play at the end was kind of brutal. This is the reason why we don't like Scott Foster and his crew.
See, I didn't mind it. I just didn't mind it. It's it's a horrible. I would have called it no call. I wouldn't have called it a foul on either player. It's a play on, but then I'm like watching the replay and he's just got his whole hand around the other dude. Like,
yeah, when I saw that whole hand wrapped around, that was crazy. I mean, it was.
I don't know how he saw it from that angle, to be quite honest with you. So
I don't know either. But
yeah.
You know, Najee came out to play tonight too. You know, he had 23 points off the bench. I think we should keep him out, honestly.
Well, he doesn't make that much money. And that becomes a problem when you're trying to assemble trades, because you kind of need guys that make like 12 to 14 to 18 million dollars to make trades these days. And I don't know how, like, I'm not sure what you do, you know, because it's guys either make a ton of money or they make under $10 million. And then when they make under 10 million, it's like you're trading for other guys who make under 10 million, because in season you have to be closer to the matching salaries than you do out of season. I can't remember the rule exactly.
Right. But also too, Clay had some good looks tonight as well. I think he had like 14, I think. He had like 14 total points tonight, I believe. He was getting the ball like really, really good. I mean, he made like 3. I think he was like 3 for 6 on his threes, I believe.
Yeah.
When he comes off of those screens, he is quick on that trigger.
Oh yeah.
Like if you don't get out on him, man, he's gonna burn you.
Yeah, and he showed
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say is that, you know, I think he's tradable as well, but here's the thing, he's going up there in age. He's like 35. Who's gonna want that?
You know, if I think you trade him, where if a team shows any interest, I think you move him out of good faith, because he signed here for a very specific reason. And I think that Nico Harrison kind of burned a lot of the Maverick faith to the ground, and that you need to do some things with agents and other players and say, all right, we treat players right. And you just sort of do it that way.
Yeah. And, you know, I just don't know how the Mavericks are going to come out of this, you know, like the other people have been saying. The trade deadline is a month away. And
that's when it starts. We have until mid-February or like early February for the actual deadline. Like 15th is when a lot of guys who are signed this summer, 15th of December is when a lot of guys this summer are eligible to be traded.
Right. I just don't know what we're going to get for AD. I mean, if he plays, because we heard that he was going to be evaluated for 7 to 10 days, something like that. Yeah. But I don't even know if he's going to play. That's my
So Shams Charania of ESPN said that there's like not like a robust market, but there's a lot of teams that would be interested, but they want to see him play first. And my really mean opinion on this is they don't care. They know when you get Anthony Davis, there comes a limited availability with him. What they want to see has less to do with his overall health, because I think it comes with the package that he's going to have weird injuries. I think they want to see if he's fat. Like I really do, because he came into camp fat. The Lakers said he came into camp fat with the Lakers, which is partially why they were inclined to move him, which is just so ironic with now what we know. And if he is in good shape, then I think they can move him.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, because if you can get a good package for AD, I mean, you got to take it. You have to take it at least. And, if it's the Bulls, I would try to get Kobe White and try to get Zach Collins and Kevin Huerter and get like 2 firsts for AD at least. You get that haul, Cooper Flagg is going to have a really nice core around him for the next several years.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But for the Mavericks in general, I mean, they're on a tough stretch because, they got to play the Pelicans on Friday, which is then the in-cup tournament. And I don't think they're going to be able to make that. But this tough stretch that we got, it's just not looking good.
And it's so funny, man. If you look at the schedule, there's like this weird gap in the middle of December. And I never travel for my real job. I'm a Salesforce administrator. And I have to go somewhere that week. And I've been like wondering how I'm going to podcast from the road. And it's like, well, I don't think the Mavericks are going to play that week because it's NBA Cup week and the Mavericks aren't going to win.
Yeah. Well, I think after they played the Pelicans, they have to go on a big road stretch. I think they go to Miami. They go to Miami. And then they have to go on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. That is brutal.
The day after Thanksgiving, they play in Los Angeles at 9 p.m. at night. I am going to turn into a pumpkin. I'm too old for this shit.
Man, I feel like I'm old too. Man, that's crazy.
But I used to, and I probably still would. Before I did this, I used to just get on Twitter and argue with people. And now I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to talk to people.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
But man, Brandon Williams, I will say this. He's a good player. I just don't think he's a play first point guard, like a passing point guard. He's more like a shooting point guard. Yep. And when I think anytime when he gets double teamed, he's always in trouble. Always in trouble. And you saw evidence of that tonight against the Knicks. The Knicks were double teaming him like crazy. And the Knicks in general, you allow them to have their first road victory of the year. That's kind of brutal as well. That sucks.
It does suck.
So, but I mean, Jalen Brunson came out to play again. We all know
he missed a lot of shots. Like, yes, I cannot believe he missed that first free throw to make that interesting.
I don't know why he did though.
Yeah. They missed 16 free throws. That is terrible.
Yeah, and I think we were like shooting very well from 3 tonight as well. I think we were like red hot coming in. We were shooting overall. I think we were shooting 30+% or something.
Yeah. The announcers ruined the Mavs free throw shooting because they're like, oh, the Mavs are 10 of 22, and then they missed a whole bunch. And I'm just like, come on.
Yeah.
Guys.
I couldn't even believe PJ's eyes too. He really wanted to miss that second free throw at the end. He really wanted to.
See,
his teammates were like, hey, it's okay. It's okay.
I don't have to practice to miss. I just miss. See, I can't imagine like needing to do that with real stress on the line. Just impossible.
Oh, trust me, when I go to the free throw line, I'm intentionally missing that for sure.
Right.
For sure. I'm intentionally missing it. So but like I said, man, I just hope that the Mavericks can pick up the pace because, but here's the thing, in an 82 game season with 60 something games left, I don't know how they're going to be able to pick it up because, the chemistry is fine. It's just, are you going to be able to mesh together?
Yep.
That's the other thing.
Right.
So.
I think that's right. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you joining the show. All right.
No problem, Kirk.
All right. Talk to you when I talk to you. See you soon.
All right, man.
Okay. Brian's coming up next. Before Brian comes up, I got a couple of I have a question I want to answer because this is a good one. Xander says, would you wait for a new GM before you trade AD or pull the plug now at the interns? I do think they end up waiting, but I would trust the current interim GMs to make the right choice. He also asks, he said, I answered this question. Would you let AD play to get his stock up? And I think I answered that question by calling him, thinking that he is at Fat Camp with Ben Stiller. Neither here nor there. Brian, what's up, brother?
Yo, can you hear me?
I can.
Nice. Okay, I'll make sure to set it up right this time. I'm on my phone. Sorry, I didn't feel like turning the camera on and holding it up. I'm gonna be quick because I know everybody's trying to go to bed. I honestly wasn't even gonna jump in here. I just heard a couple things that just really started to make my blood boil when I was just trying to listen to a recap of this shitty game. No, I don't give a fuck what you shoot me up with, or shove down my gullet and make me drink to give me inebriated. There's no seeing this Nico vision. We can't at once be seeing the Nico vision and also want to trade these guys away and recoup things, and then also be complaining about not wanting to trade guys because you don't think you're going to recoup what you get. This is a fucking 2K. You're not going to get back a first round pick for everybody you send out, right? You're not going to get equivalent value for it. Every single person that you send out, according to what it was that you sent out to get them. We understand that.
Right.
But this team is getting blown up because that vision fucking sucked. Kyrie Irving, at this point in his career, is a shooting guard, not a point guard. He can't be a lead playmaker. We know that. That's kind of been proven at this point. Anthony Davis, next to a big, does not work unless he's shooting 40% from three and 50% from the mid-range, and he'll never do that again.
Sure.
On top of that, look, y'all, a lot of people are throwing around the word tank. It's not tanking when you suck.
Yes.
We're gonna have to worry about bottoming out and being the worst team and having some bad karma because the Utah Jazz still exists and the Brooklyn Nets still exist. There are still teams that are plenty worse than us. However, you can let go of the if we hold on to AD and the next year, you can let that dream go. That's dead. There's no play-in coming this year. There's no playoffs coming next year unless there's a huge development over the course of the summer. Whether it be us drafting number one and getting Darren Peterson or AJ Devanta, something like that, or something major in terms of an AD trade development if it takes all the way out to the summer. I don't think it will. I think he's getting moved before the deadline. I don't think we hear all this smoke and all these people coming out of the woodwork and starting to talk if it wasn't going to happen before the deadline. As soon as December 15th happens, we're going to hear rumors start to get loud.
I think you're probably right, but this is where, and I don't know if you listen to Josh and I, like this is where we're just kind of frustrated about the process from the Mavs because they've got to tighten up the communication apparatus because I'm not interested in hearing publicly that they're not trading Anthony Davis and privately that they are because it insults me as a fan.
Well, so, you know you're not getting that with Big Mouth Cubes back in the fold.
I don't know, man. We got Nico Harrison's ass fired. Maybe we can get him to shut up too.
Hey, look, him, Jason Kidd, we can let him know y'all are all on a list, and all we have to do is bring signs and our voices to the games.
Yeah. Yep. Well, anything else from you?
I will say I didn't get to tune into all of the game. Like the fight from the guys, you know.
It was a shockingly fun game for as ugly as it was. Like it was go.
Some horrible basketball down the stretch. Yeah. But Jalen Brunson was cool. Karl Anthony Towns did a couple cool things here and there.
Yes.
The D'Lo down the stretch, not playing debacle. That whatever. Like you said, if you're a conspiracy theorist and you want to talk about tanking, you've got your fuel there. But yeah, no, this team is just bad and frankly had no business being in a game in New York, and that eventually bore itself out, even if on a very funny call at the end.
Yes.
But the guys went out there and fought. Coop, get well soon. Hopefully we'll see you back on the court, and then we'll all have our reason for watching this team back on the court again.
All right, buddy. We'll talk soon, okay? Whoa, hello, Thunder. Good Lord. It's stormy here in Dallas tonight. All right. Talk to you soon, buddy. Bye.
Peace, dude.
All right, last but not least, my East Coast friend Matt, who I should have brought up first, but it didn't occur to me till after I saw Brian that you were East. Sorry about that. How you doing? Oh, you're muted. No, not yet. Check the input and output. This happened to Brian the other night. Yeah, it's all right. Take your time. I'll ramble for a minute if you need to punch yourself on and off. It's kind of whatever works. Yeah, this thing's so funny. This happens to me with work calls too, where it's like my computer just picks different inputs and outputs, and it's like, why are we doing this? Like, it's not that complicated. We want you to figure it out. Yeah, it's supposed to storm here in Dallas tonight, which will make it finally cooler. I got a sunburn last weekend. It's November. It's one of the dumber things that exists in this whole app. What's going on here? There's been some fun post-game quotes from the Mavericks here. Nothing particularly like surprising. You know, just like we got to do this better, blah blah blah. And Twitter is so confusing to me lately. I'm gonna punt Matt and let him see if he can join back in here in a second. I'm really looking forward to seeing Derek Queen play again Friday. He was so weird and a really, really fun thing. He plays, he's like just a whirling dervish. Like, I don't want to call him like Jokic, because that's not fair, but I like big men play distributors. And so watching him play against the Mavericks be fun. Fears was also the guy, I've mentioned this many times. Fears was the guy I wanted for the Mavericks. Oh, let's try it again. Matt, you're there. Still can't hear you. This is just the best. Give it a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to have to call it. It's already 1 a.m. my time, and I know he wants to share his piece. But Fears, I just liked him playing against the Mavericks the other night. I think the Mavericks will win that game. This is, it's another home game here. There's just no reason why they can't. Let me see here. Which mat do I want to work on here? We'll kick that mat off. Boom. Let's try this mat. What about now? No, this is awful. Wonder what it is, buddy. Yeah, I don't know if we got it tonight. All right, talk to you. Just great audio there at the end. Sorry for that, boys and girls. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll be back on Friday night. Everybody be good. Go Mavs.